For this project, Carson, Ali, Alora, and I had to analyze a scene from the Netflix TV show Bridgerton. For context, Bridgerton takes place in the 1800s in England. This scene is between Kate and Anthony, who are two characters who are trying to ignore their growing attraction to one another. Kate is seen riding up on a horse while Anthony is just walking around the garden and looking at the flowers. Once she gets off her horse, Kate and Anthony see each other and she approaches him. They start speaking pretty intently, and then a bee comes up onto Kate, and this terrifies Anthony because his father died from a bee sting. And this shows how much Anthony truly cares for Kate. The scene starts in the garden, where Anthony is looking at the flowers and Kate is coming off of her horse. The wide shot allows us to see both Anthony and Kate as she is walking towards him, and it shows the enormous gulf between the two of them. This clip shows Anthony as he is scared for Kate being stung by a bee. The camera angles become off-centered and tilted, and this emphasizes just Anthony's fear, and it makes the audience feel off-kilter as well. The shot is also set up to be quite close as they are becoming more intimate and emotional, which makes the audience member feel more a part of a intimate relationship than the wide shot did. As Kate calms Anthony down, the camera stabilizes again, and this shows that Kate is a stabilizing figure for Anthony and all of his anxiety and fear surrounding his father's death and in other areas of the show as well. This final shot is of Kate running through a door towards the camera and away from Anthony and the moment that they just shared. You can feel how scared she is because she just shared such an intimate moment with the person who her sister is supposed to marry.
Hi everyone, so I will be talking about sound. So sound in the movie includes music, dialogue, sound effects, ambient noise, and or background noise, and soundtracks. So in the beginning, we start off with some simple background noise of birds chirping and the breeze blowing through the leaves, making a lot of rustling noises, which kind of like allows us to acknowledge that this scene is going to be a little serious with the conversation that leads up to our two characters, Kate and Anthony. We are introduced to the bee at 1:29, so a minute in. And so from the bee, you can hear like a little bit of the buzzing that lands onto the collar of Kate. From the bee comes like a duet of violins. We don't acknowledge them until a few seconds in, when the violins start to get louder and start to crescendo. And then we see Anthony visibly like anxious about this bee. If you listen closer to the scene, you hear one violin playing long notes while the other violin is playing at a quicker pace, so probably like quarter or eighth notes, which adds the confusion and the anxiety between the two in the scene. And I also want to say that the violins kind of represent the character's thoughts and how they're feeling at that moment. The louder the sound gets, the more we get to the climax of the scene, the more the buildup of this anxiety and they start to come closer. And then as the tension starts to build up and they're literally like inches away from their face, showing this like now romantic scene, this tension breaks immediately from a sound of a horse. So the violins immediately stop playing, and then once they realize what just happened, um, we don't hear anything from Anthony leaving, but then we hear Kate taking the frantic violin while she's running away.
Immediately, we are shown Kate, and she's wearing this dark blue tealish dress with very minimal detailing on it. She also has very little jewelry on herself, which seems to show that Kate is not really one to show off or draw much attention to herself, maybe. And then when Anthony comes into scene, he is also wearing dark clothing, and his vest is actually the same color as Kate's dress. And so this bluish color not only ties them together in this scene, but also their dark clothing juxtaposes them against the background of this bright, beautiful, flowery, nature-filled scene we have behind us. And another thing with the costumes is it shows what time period Bridgerton is in, which is actually a very important plot detail for this scene. So, Bridgerton is set in the 19th century, and we know that only because in this scene, what Kate and Anthony are wearing. And so the time period is fueled by the costumes, and the costumes then back up why they make themselves an important part of this scene.
These are the three most important elements that our group saw in our Bridgerton analysis for documenting the relationship between Anthony and Kate in this scene. Thank you.